This is Centered, where faith meets everyday life. Our hope is to invite you into a better story, a story where you're made new through Jesus, living with God-given purpose, and experiencing peace, joy, and freedom. Together, we'll explore what it means to keep Jesus at the center of where we live, work, and play, bringing beauty, meaning, and renewal to every part of our lives. Thank you for joining us. Here are your hosts, David and Ben.
Welcome to the Centered Podcast. My name is Ben, and I am joined
Wait. What's going on here?
What do you mean?
Did the Super Bowl take it out of you? Because that's not your normal, welcome to the Centered Podcast.
Today's International Call-In Sick Day, and I'm present.
We need more for that. People are driving to work.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Centered Podcast.
There we go. That's what I like.
I was not expecting to be called out on what's supposed to be a low-key post-Super Bowl day.
I guess.
I don't know.
But it's going to be...
I'm not hungover, so that
it's going to be like 3 days later
That's
when
why
this
everyone
comes
calls
out.
in.
Yeah, you told me today that it was International Call-In Sick Day, and I didn't understand that.
Maybe it's just national. I don't think it's international.
National.
But that's...
International.
I'm sure we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
Hey... Okay, I'm Ben. I'm joined by David as usual, but
we got a guest.
Special guest. And Michele, you have grabbed a stranglehold on most guest appearances on the Centered Podcast because we think you're great. So thank you for joining us, Michele Williams.
Glad to be here.
I didn't know where that was going to go. The
Yeah,
stranglehold.
Stranglehold.
Yeah, like, who am I strangling?
You don't look like a violent person.
Yeah. Freddie's not here, so I think we're safe.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're safe.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. We're glad you're here. And, okay, it is the Monday after the Super Bowl. So, question for you guys, Super Bowl related question. Are you more into the game or the commercials?
Commercial, for sure. This year.
This year, commercials.
Yeah, the game stunk.
The game was awful.
It was so boring.
The
Very boring.
worst.
Yeah.
Except I won.
You guys hung in there, though.
Squares.
Yeah,
We were
watched
over
it.
at their house for a Super Bowl, and you guys hung in on the game.
We did.
Oh, yeah.
We played Mahjong.
Yeah, I don't know. I still can't leave it. I don't know. But I won my very first Super Bowl square ever.
Oh, okay.
I've played a lot.
Yeah.
I never win.
Did you go to the Sammer party?
I did. It was
Yeah,
a summer
nice.
party.
It sounded fun.
Yeah, it was a good time. He had like bingo and games and prizes
Oh,
and
that's so
putting
fun.
and lots of food. It was a good time.
Oh, noted.
No,
was
we
a
did that
good
last
time.
year. We just kind of chilled this
Yeah,
year.
we
There's
just
a lot
chilled.
going on.
Yeah. True.
There is a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so favorite Super Bowl commercial then of this year? What's
Mine was the Budweiser one with the horse and the chick.
I don't
Do you
think I
remember
saw
that one? Oh, it was
it
so good.
And then
It was
the
a pony?
hawk that
Yes.
came out the end. It
Yeah,
looked
it
like
was
a
awesome.
Pegasus. Yeah.
It was
I
awesome.
also heard there were 2 different feeds going. So if you're on YouTube TV,
Oh.
you got one
Okay.
set of commercials.
That's what we were on.
And
Yeah.
if you weren't, you got a different set of commercials. I don't think we were.
Interesting.
I think we were on the non-YouTube feed.
Mine was the Manscaped.
That
No.
that was on my
Talking
list.
Hairballs.
Yeah.
That was on my list.
That got my attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I felt like all the wives were like, ew, I have to clean that when my husband shaves.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, I don't want to hear that talking. It was funny. I also thought this was an interesting one. I think it was effective. It wasn't like funny, but it was the liquid IV look at your pee.
Yeah, I saw that
And
one.
I was like, because most of these commercials, I don't always remember what it was, like what the brand was. I just thought it was funny. This one, I was like, oh, that I actually did that. I looked at my pee. I was like, liquid IV. That happened this morning. So, yeah.
Well,
Can I
it
just
was
say,
beneficial and effective.
I want to call out Freddie because he apologized for if anyone left pee in his toilet, but it was actually cleaner. So he
Yeah.
apologized for his son. So he's like, I apologize in advance if they leave pee in the toilet. And Michelle had just got done cleaning the
Cleaning
toilet with cleaner, and he thought
And I was
his
like,
son's pee.
If
it-
that is our boy's pee, they got a situation and you
Yeah,
can
I
take
was
some
wondering-
liquid
that's what I
IV.
was wondering. It's like, most cleaners aren't yellow. Like, what color
No.
was this cleaner?
Like gold.
wow.
Lysol.
Lysol gold.
I don't want to hear anything. I know.
Yeah.
Not great for your
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know, body.
That's not organic.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Poor Freddie.
That's-
He's like, what? That's
I was like,
normally
no.
what it looks like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
His-
He needs.
He,
yeah.
He
maybe
needs to
he's
see a
like,
doctor.
Maybe,
he's been
yeah.
around
He needs to
radiation
see a
or something.
doctor.
Like, I don't know. Like,
Oh, wow.
Oh, that turned quickly.
yeah.
Wow.
Well, okay, so this is good because
Liquid
it reminded me. Going to Sunday. Okay, Freddie preached, did a great job. I've had two like quotes I just thought were really funny. One was him, one was you actually. So Freddie said he was talking about your nightmare and said that the real nightmare would be for all of us.
Totally,
if
yeah.
you
Yeah, that
were
was funny.
preaching unclothed. I
Yeah.
thought that was hilarious. But I also thought this was funny. You said this in our volunteer service. It just made me laugh. You said, I'm not preaching so I can say what I want. And I was just like, don't you do that anyways? Like, I don't understand. Who's limiting what you can say? Who's censoring you, David?
The Holy Spirit.
Oh,
Yeah, I was
So
just, I
you're-
went wild, dude.
You're
I
free
went
from the
I just
shackles of the
went nuts.
Spirit.
When you don't preach.
I just meant I didn't have a sermon to like control what I was saying. But you're right. I do say whatever I want. Especially in that service, I say whatever I want.
Yes. And this is the funniest thing, too. You always say to our volunteers, I'm not going to say this in the main service. I'm just going to say this to you because I love you. And then you say it in the main service anyways.
But they don't hear it because they're volunteering. But
You
if they
just
listen
you
to
want them
this,
to feel
we
special.
we want them to feel special.
All right.
Sorry.
Well, so it was great. It was a
We
great
are
day.
in the underbelly of this thing right
I know.
now.
It was
That's
it was a great day. We're
It
going
was a
back on
great
the
day.
rails. It was
Yeah,
a great
it was
day.
a great day.
Great message. Yeah. And I love like Aubrey did a great job like
Mhm.
hosting and just all around great day. And we want to talk about it. Now normally we talk about the cutting room floor, what didn't make it into the sermon, but we're at the end of a series. So we want to like kind of take it back, step back and talk a little bit more broadly. So David, what do you got for us?
Yeah, I was thinking even before Sunday happened, it was, we've been using a lot of the language east of Eden and how that is a metaphor from distance from God and distance from being with God. And I started thinking in my own journey, like all of the times where I found myself east of Eden and working
Yeah.
my way back, and it's not just like my one testimony. I did it once, but like in life, we find ourselves feeling distant from God. And I think trying to find a way back. And so I wanted to go around and maybe talk about times that we found ourselves east of Eden and what is journeying back to the garden. Proverbially, obviously we're not talking about like, getting to heaven and dying. Yeah, like that whole thing. But, the whole idea is Eden is the place that God dwells. And Eden is the place where we submit to the rule and reign of God. And I think there's a lot of places and times and seasons in our life where we've tried to do things our own way. And we need to work our way back to that. And so I was particularly thinking about I know for you, Michele, the when you debuted on our podcast, which I still think is the most listened to podcast ever. History is that first
awesome.
one when you
It's
were on
either
there.
number one or number two.
Yeah,
Okay.
number one or number two.
Right up there. Yeah.
It's
Okay.
up there, and it was number one for a long time. If we surpassed
for
it.
sure.
But when you were on, you were talking about, we were joking, you had an encounter with your mythical horse creature.
Yes.
And it spoke to you.
Yeah.
It told you what decisions to make. And AKA, we're talking
So
about
do
the Holy
all the
Spirit.
animals
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah.
I don't know. See?
That was the question.
Do
See,
they?
you're like, do they? You're
Yeah.
like, that
That's
would
why.
make sense of my horse
Right.
experience.
Now I get it.
Yeah.
Here's what I joke with
That's
you.
funny.
I tell
Yeah.
everybody that story because I think it's so amazing.
Yes.
Not just the story, but the like horses and how they react and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So I think it's really cool. But I would love to hear in that season, like you had a big decision that you had to make that was scary. You didn't understand like the trajectory. You didn't have anything waiting for you.
Right.
And you really just wanted to be obedient to God. And really in that story, here's what made me think about it. In that story, you talked about, even though you like were doing ministry, you found yourself east of Eden.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was like maybe for God, but not with him.
Mm-hmm.
And you're trying to find your way back. And so could you share like that journey from that moment to now, like where you're at? And I just think it'd be encouraging to hear.
Yeah. So if you haven't heard about the horses, go back to that podcast because it's pretty awesome.
It is awesome.
It is pretty awesome.
It is, totally Holy Spirit. But what you're referring to is, so when I was on sabbatical, I was on staff, and I was during that time, I was at the Oaks, which is amazing. If you guys don't know about it, go. It's a ranch that Bob Goff and someone else, they have, and it's amazing. And so anyway, I had the privilege of going, and I just knew that transition was happening prior to going. And I remember this was like pivotal, and I'm experiencing it. So when I was at the Oaks at the ranch, a lady, one of our she was an instructor. She just pulled me aside, and it wasn't faith-based. Obviously, well, not obviously, but Bob Goff is a follower of Jesus, and it just gives space there. But this lady, she just pulled me aside that kind of looked random, but we knew it wasn't. And she just pulled me aside. She's like, "Hey, can I just share something with you and speak something over you?" And I said, "Sure, speak anything over me. That's good." Because I was just in this space of just desperation. And she pulled me aside and she said, "You're about to go through a cracking open." And I was like, And I was like, "Do tell more." And she said that it's going to be really painful, but the cracking open is going to be where things have to be put to rest and to die for new life to happen.
Wow.
Whoa.
And so I know. So I was like, okay.
Cracking open doesn't sound fun. When someone says there's going to be a cracking open, you're like, no,
Which,
thanks.
I mean, so the Oaks, that ranch was filled with oak trees. And so there was, acorns all over. So she was using that analogy of just like what happens is a small acorn, cracks open and just births and new life. And so since then, that was in May of last year. Since then, I resigned, didn't know where I was going to go, what I was going to do, but I just knew that's what I needed. And just since then, just I've experienced a lot of that cracking open of just things needed, relationships needed to be put to rest, things needed to be cut off in my life, where I was finding one of my things that I go to, a tendency is where my East of Eden is self-reliance, because that's protected me my entire life.
Yep.
And so just realizing that just the self-reliance just keeps me so far away from the Lord. And this time, and God has just been so tender and gentle with me, and where he's just drawing me even to himself and to the more like over the last, months, just reminding me like, I just want to care for you. I want to tenderly care for you. And coming out of, ministry, and just being a mom and all these things where I found myself of just like, okay, pouring and investing in other people and finding myself just like distancing myself from God is just like the doing, just being productive. And I didn't realize that about myself. It's just like when I had my last day of work, I woke up the next day and like, what do I do? If I sit around, I'm going to feel unproductive and connecting my identity to a lot of those things. So even like that severing of like, Michele, you don't have to be productive to be purposeful or have a, your identity.
Well, what's crazy is when people are in ministry, it's almost like the assumptions of others.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone just assumes, like, oh, you and God are okay. You're doing
Yeah.
good.
You're good.
You're good. Yeah,
Yeah.
everything's like normal, good.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's almost like you don't even have a chance to like be or think or reveal anything else that's going on, and you're just living in that like assumptions that if you're in ministry,
Yeah.
you're close to God. Sorry,
Yes.
I just had to
no,
pause
yeah,
break because
it's very true.
I think
Yeah.
I found
Yeah.
myself in those places so many times over the years,
Mhm.
and you almost need to break away from that environment for a while or
Yeah.
season or whatever to get that back. So
No,
There's
yeah.
no space.
Yeah.
Like, because of that expectation,
Mhm.
you don't feel permission to share,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
that's hard.
And that's what I love about like just being part of Mosaic, just having the invitation, just like we are just all imperfect people, invited to join in what God's doing. And
Yeah.
there's no pressure to, whether it's like on stage or even just entering, and you just know that you just like, you can just be. And whether you're on staff or, volunteering, I think that is such a gift because it brings the freedom of like, there's no performing.
Yeah.
You don't have to perform or be or produce
Mhm.
things to be seen or known, or,
Yeah.
you just get to come and be here.
Yeah.
And know God and make him known. That's the invitation. And it's so really so simple.
Yeah. Painfully hard though.
Oh,
It is,
yeah.
our
Painfully hard.
culture.
Yeah.
You have to
I don't
You got to
know.
fight
unlearn.
for it.
Oh, yeah.
You have to fight for it.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
that's what stinks in our
Mm.
culture. And because we are East of Eden, I think it's part of our broken condition
Yeah.
is like we're still find ourselves naked and ashamed, and so we hide behind images and curate our images and things. And so okay, keep going. You're on a roll. I'm sorry, I just had that little interruption.
No, thank you. I'm trying to think, like, I believe, like, as God has invited me and just made space for me to just be, again, there's some things in me, which is why I think I like to stay, like, on a roll, busy, is because for me personally, I've learned to compartmentalize my life to the detriment.
Mhm.
And now in this space, I'll even say, like, even now, the Lord has just invited me into like just being under his covering. And I always say is like being under his covering for me is, I say, in this season now he's strong arming me, and I need to be strong armed because I know myself. And so obviously, so does the Lord. But he's like, you're not going anywhere this time. You stay here, stay close. And I finally had like just like, okay, I'm staying here. And that's been in the last few months specifically for me. And it's just like, I was telling Freddie this morning, I'm like, I don't want to go anywhere else. I've done it by myself. And it's just awful. And so, anyway, just like I'm still on this journey, but coming back to him, the invitation just to be in his presence. And it's just like, Michele, you don't have to fight anymore. You just stop. And it's rewriting what I've always known, and just being in him, just being like, okay, now let's take some of those things off the shelf, whether it's self-reliance or self-protection. He's like, I'm your survival. You don't have to you don't have to like put all this stuff on, this armor that he's like, you're safe with me.
That's the
You're
fight.
safe with me.
That's the fight.
Yeah. So
I love that image that you gave. This might be an outdated reference because I'm old. But remember that scene in Good Will Hunting where Matt Damon and is it Robin Williams?
Yes.
And he's like, he just is like angry and angry and angry, and Robin Williams just keeps like moving closer to him, closer to him, closer, and finally like embraces him, and then he just lets go. Like I feel like what you just described is the heart of God.
Yeah.
And that scene always wrecked me because I
Oh, yeah.
feel like that's been my relationship with God is like there's a phrase, I know this is a funny phrase, but kicking against the goats,
Oh, yeah.
and it's like
Wait, you're kicking what? I'm from Los Angeles. I don't
it's
understand this phrase.
legitimately like saying like you're kicking yourself in the most tender spots, and until you give up and just like stop, you're going to continue to like experience the pain of that.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for explaining.
that's
It's very-
literally what
yeah.
that passage means is, and it's so funny because we don't, we're not honest enough about that. That's where we're at, and so thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Like that's powerful.
I think there is when I was in St. Louis, I used to teach special needs, and I had a little guy, and still one of my favorite students. He would be I'll bleep it out, but he would just be like, Mrs. Willems, you are a dumb A, anyway. And so, I mean, he would say that all the time.
Yeah.
And I would just be like, I care about you. I care about you. He was punching me and, all these things.
Yeah.
But I literally just was like, I care about you. I care about you. I care about you. And the fight. And then right when at the end of the year, he looked at me when I was leaving. I was moving back home here. He just like looked at me and he says, I care about you.
Oh,
It's just, and it just, again,
What
it just
a reward,
I know,
though.
but it just is the consistency and like it just reminds me of like, again, how God is just like, I care about you. I'm committed to you. I ain't going anywhere.
Yeah.
You can fight all you want, Michele, but I'm not going anywhere. I'm committed to you. And then just finally just almost at 45 years old being like, okay.
I care about you.
Yeah.
God.
I'm like, okay. I'm just like, I'm just stopping and just being and really understanding what that looks like finally. So being in the Eden.
Yeah, that's good. I think so once you stopped kicking against the goats, what some things have opened up for you. Like you've discovered some things about like passions and giftings and things.
Yeah.
Talk about that. Like talk about as you found yourself back in God's arms, even reluctantly.
Yeah.
What's opened up for you?
Well, so my job I resigned from. I worked in the prison system, so and I just was able to just be there with the men and women, and I missed and I continue to miss that. And then when the men and women get out of prison, just walking with them to be just have success from things that we don't think about, getting their IDs and all that stuff. And so that stopped when I resigned. And so as I was walking this journey from having nothing really in my next steps, I was just like, I really love leadership and I love coaching, and I am a developer and I'm a galvanizer and I love watching people succeed. And so just as I've just walked, the Lord just brought like people in my life. And I'm also a connector. So it's just like people that I was like, oh, okay. And who just like, hey, I have something for you that you would think would be random. We know it's not, but just offer me like some things to come and get certified in coaching and leadership coaching, and then having opportunities to walk with people. And so I've been able to do that as I go. And it's been really, for me, life-giving. Going back to the cracking open, I feel like there's like spring is coming and it's just starting to sprout. And so just being able to walk with people and just watching, even just sitting across from people and watching like light bulbs go off in them.
Yeah.
And just come alive is what it is. But I do think you can't take someone somewhere you've never been.
Yeah, totally.
Right? And so I believe like as light bulbs, so to speak, are coming on in me. Light is happening again in me. Is like the Lord's been like, okay, here's someone.
That's
So,
amazing.
yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. It's powerful. Like, and just the idea of like, it's when you stop resisting that all of this like opens up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know you're still in process of like exploring
I
some
am.
opportunities, but I think it's amazing. And just as an aside, like a little commercial break here, I love when I watch people move from official vocational, like official ministry into what I call real ministry.
Yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
my job as a pastor, as an apostle, prophet, shepherd, teacher, evangelist, these are like the professional jobs of the church. Those jobs are actually to equip the saints for the work of the ministry, which mean the saints are outside the official church work, doing ministry out in the world. And to be able to watch you do redemptive work, help people become unstuck, help people to move forward, help people to heal, help people to flourish, in the places that I think matters most in the culture. Culture making is powerful. Like that's an amazing ministry. And yeah, I just love it. I talk to so many people who thought that, and I know this wasn't you because you're actually really good either way, but I've talked to so many people who thought that they were going to fulfill their calling in the church. Doing ministry. And the church just ate them up because that wasn't their call. And then I watch them get out of it and then really discover like what they were called for and watch them flourish. And that's one of my favorite things in the world. And I'm like, oh, you're finally doing ministry. You thought you were doing ministry before, you're finally doing ministry. And I don't know. That's
No, it is.
There's my little 2 cents.
And I know that for me, I have, and I always have, just had a deep, call it calling or whatever, passion, just to be light in the darkness and salt of the earth. I believe in it. And I feel that is my like everyday ordinary life. And not under a, I guess, professional, sense of like under a covering of a church or whatever. Being employed by a church. So, yeah, I don't know.
That's
I feel
awesome.
like it's just like scratching the surface.
I love it. I
so
love
exciting.
what God's doing in you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You're looking at me. My turn.
That's your turn.
I'm up. Okay. Well, a lot of what you said resonate in different, but kind of in a different thread. But like the whole idea of self-reliance and self-sufficiency. And so like I've never been rich, but I've thought about where Jesus says, and I know that that's a loaded thing and Americans, we're all rich, but you know what I mean. It's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. And I've always like taken that, not always, but maybe in the last 15 years, taken that idea and I've gone, I think it's more than just financial riches. It's like he who has a lot. And so it could be a lot of capacity, it could be a lot of like skill, it could be gifting, it could be whatever. Like he who has much has a hard time entering the kingdom of heaven. And I've always just like been able to figure out how to do whatever I need to do to make it through. So like I would I went through my whole childhood and I really like thought my childhood was pretty good. And it was in a lot of ways, I've discovered as an adult, like, there were some unhealthy things that I've definitely like suppressed and worked around. But like, I really didn't, the point is I didn't feel like I needed God. Like life was pretty good. I believed in God. Like I was serving in the church. I had a faith, but it wasn't like a relationship. It was more of like, an intellectual assent, like I know that God is real. I believe in him. I know what Jesus did for me. I learned it at a young age and I believed in its importance. But I never like had this like need in my life for God. Well, 21 years old. By the time I get married at 21. By the time I'm 22, I'm divorced, bankrupt, fell asleep at the wheel, totaled my car. Like, people are making Job comparisons, and I definitely need God for the first time in my life. And so I've just gone through a lot of like fighting to be self-sufficient, fighting not to be self-sufficient, and this whole like wrestling match. And I've like firmly come to the conclusion that I need God. And now the thing that I'm wrestling with is if I trust him. And we've talked about this a little bit, but just like, I know I need him, but like in the everyday stuff, do I actually trust him? When whatever, some bill comes in or some unexpected thing happens financially, do I actually trust God to meet our needs? When something hard happens relationally, do I feel like I have to be the one to go in and fix it all, or do I need to like let go of control and just trust God to do the work? And that has been, when I do it, very freeing, scary, but freeing. And when I don't do it, it's like, man, I'm so far east, and I just find myself trying to control and grab a hold of things really tightly. And just like being able to open my hands and release that control has been probably the biggest thing in the last few years that I definitely have not figured out. But that's the journey. That's like that. Like east and west,
Yes.
And so
you're like Kansas, Colorado, Kansas. No.
Yeah. No, legitimately. Are you calling Colorado Eden?
Yeah. Heck yeah.
I think we said we don't want to hype Colorado.
Yeah, we can't let people know how beautiful it is. 71 degrees.
Terrible.
February.
Yeah, so I find that, and like I find it in the work that we do. It's easy to become self-reliant and try to like manufacture something, and like I'm trying to unlearn a lot of things I learned about how to do ministry.
Yeah.
And making it less about polish and performance and perfection, and just more about an invitation for the Spirit to move and do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Which is like, but I don't know what that is. That's like scary. What, like, it's releasing that control again.
Yeah.
And so it's a gift to have that freedom to do that, because that's not been every environment I've worked in. So it really is a gift, as like you were saying, to be here and to be in an environment where we're not pursuing perfection so much as like beauty and the invitation of the Spirit to move and work. And so I'm literally like, I'm unlearning a whole bunch of things, and it's great. And it's weird and uncomfortable and scary and all the things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I can resonate with that for sure. Yeah, so mine is pretty recent. I've had, and I won't give too much detail, just, I guess I don't want to, it's going out on the airwaves. So, but I've had a strained relationship. So I had like a family member that has an estranged relationship, and my heart got really hard like towards this person. And so I brought it to my life group, and we've been working through it, and I love it. I love my life group. I can be honest. I don't have to be a pastor. I don't have to be a lead pastor. Like that. I'm just a guy like praying to Jesus. And they've been like calling me out on it and like trying to keep me accountable to it. And I was totally resistant to it. And I would love to say like, oh, one day God softened my heart and I had a change of heart and I reached out and I did it. None of that.
No.
My heart was hard. I wasn't going to budge.
Not happening.
And here's how loving God is. God worked in that person. And that person reached out to me in a way that was so tender and humble and kind that just confronted my own pride and like wanting to control. So talking about wanting to control the situation, and like wanting, and then wanting also like a sense of like, like an apology, like some like I'm
Oh,
owed
yeah.
something, like type of deal, and God just wiped all of that out in a single like humble text, and and this is like legitimately recently, like in the last couple of weeks, that we've been going through this, and I'm just reminded of how easy it is to get east of Eden.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it just happens so
Yeah.
quickly. You don't just wake up in the morning and you're like, "Hey, I'm
back."
yeah." It's just like slow, but God's
Yeah.
so kind and He
He's so
pursues us and He
patient.
makes a way, and we're still learning and we're still growing, and I'm really really thankful for that. But yeah,
Freddie, he quickly mentioned the feeding of the 5,000 plus.
Mhm.
And I was reading today, so I'm a big fan, I think about Jackie Hill Perry. And so she was just sharing how you talked about a hardened heart and how we easily forget or hide.
Mhm.
And so she was talking about how the disciples just literally saw Jesus multiply bread and fish and feed and
Crazy.
yeah. And then they get in a boat for their next assignment and they have one loaf of bread. And so they were kind of reluctant to tell Jesus because they're like shameful, like, we just saw, we forgot to take care of ourselves. And, and Jesus, his reply is just like, I mean, so kind and not condemning. Just like, guys, you just saw. Why would you?
We were just in the same
you
place.
just saw that I can. And but how easily it is, like when we get closer to God, we have to be on guard. She was referring to leavened bread.
Oh, yeah.
And so the leaven.
Yeah, totally.
And so how we're so easily just like a hardened heart or,
Yeah.
and I just thought that was I was like, how often do I experience such goodness of the Lord and then get in my boat and be like, oh,
Right.
dang it, I forgot the rest of
Yeah.
everything.
Totally.
Well,
You know?
it feels like we can compartmentalize it too. Like there are parts of us that are very near to Eden, but there's this like one part that's so far east.
Yeah, that's the compartmentalization. It's like,
and-
I'm gonna hide this way over here.
Right. And I just like I'm literally going like, I'm pretty sure that means we're just east.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But we convince ourselves that we're close to him
Mm-hmm.
because we feel his, but that's like his grace, his love. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
him. That's not us.
Yeah.
We hide these things and we try to keep them from.
Yeah. And he's so kind to us. And in many ways, I mean, I think that's the complexity of our broken condition. Because there are like, man, and I want to give people permission to feel the tension of being close to God and far from God at the same time. Because I know that's my story all the time, man.
It's real.
It's like there is an area of my life where I'm just firing all cylinders, and God's graceful, and he blesses that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like he's just
Legitimately.
like, he legitimately blesses that, and then there's just like this, like, but I see that, David. What do you think about that thing over there? That you're
I don't
pushing
wanna
away.
think about that
I don't
thing.
know
What
to
thing,
think about
God?
it.
I don't got anything behind my back.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's good.
He's kind.
It's good. All right. I think it's time to have a little fun.
Just for funsies.
Okay.
It's time for Just for Funsies. And okay, I was thinking, so Freddie talked about opening night at a movie theater, and then he insults everyone who watched Avengers, calling them nerds. But
He was there.
I did happen. That's what I
Yeah, he
just
was
gonna
there.
say. But I happened to realize he also was there. So
Come on.
he kind of
Yeah.
left that detail, call himself a nerd without realizing it.
Mhm.
And so it's like he was talking about like how there's these moments in movies where it's like, don't do it. And that was like if we were watching this like rebellion moment happen in real time, that would be us in the theater. Like,
Don't eat the
Eve, stop!
fruit.
Like, don't do it.
Yeah.
It kind of made me think of. Have you seen the Geico commercial where it's like a horror movie spoof thing, and there are these like teenagers, and they're like trying to figure out a plan to escape, and this girl goes, "Well, why don't we get into that running car?" And this guy goes like, "Are you crazy? No, let's go hide behind the chainsaws." And there's like this masked murderer looking
Wow.
like, "What? You guys are so dumb." Like,
That's funny.
don't do it.
Chose
Anyways,
the wrong thing.
so I thought it'd be fun to just each of us identify one of those don't do it moments in the theater where, or it could be home, whatever, a movie, a show,
Yeah.
where you were like, no, stop. I'll start, so
Right.
it gives you a minute to think.
Oh,
Um,
man.
Because, yeah, it's, it can be hard.
Mhm.
So mine was Star Wars, so Freddie would call me a nerd, I'm sure. The Force Awakens, and so it's like the very first of the next three, the last three that came out, and Kylo Ren is on a bridge with his dad, Han Solo, and he's saying, I know what I need to do, but I don't have the strength. I don't know if I have the strength to do it. And he like reaches out like he's gonna hand his dad his lightsaber, and he kills him. And that was like, I was like, don't, no. It really upset me. And it was my totally like, don't do it moment. But what made it worse, honestly, the worst part was for years, my oldest son, who I gave my name to, who I love dearly, would say to me, Dad, that was the best part of the movie.
Oh, wow.
He's just trolling me
Yeah.
for years.
Trying to get under your skin.
And he would never, if you asked him, he'd be like,
It's the
yeah,
best
that,
part.
that was the best part of the movie. And he's now at least like smiled. So I'm like, oh, okay.
He's messing with you.
But that's my don't do it moment. It's very upsetting.
That's a hard one.
Mine's kind of dark too. Have you guys ever seen Full Metal Jacket?
No.
Oh, it's a war movie. And it talks about like the psychology of like boot camp and war and like what it does to you. And there's this cadet who you watch get like bullied and hazed by people, and you can slowly watch his like mental health deteriorate. And you knew he ends up taking his own life, which is just like the most traumatic thing. But it's like it feels like it happens over the course of the movie, and it's in slow motion, and you know it's going to happen. And you're just like, every time you see it, just get a little more jaded, a little more jaded, a little more jaded. So that was mine.
It's just like, no.
Yeah, and you can feel it inside of you, like welling up, like, and you're just like, stop, like, and then tragedy happens.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I could tell you like when everyone says don't do it, but I'm like, do it.
Oh, we're getting a window.
And this is Michele. I was going to say, when's the last time you stayed awake all the way through a movie?
Oh,
Excuse me.
That's really what's going on here.
That's a Micheleism there.
True. But I have been saying like I just have to watch them a little earlier.
Yeah, you have to start earlier. There you go.
Because it's one of our family's favorite movies. And we bought a zoo and we just watched it the other night. And so it's when Matt Damon, I don't know, if you guys haven't watched it, go watch it. Just skip through this because it's very important.
Spoil alert.
Because they go through this tragic thing and he's trying to keep his family together. And then he ends up like spending his inheritance because he wants a change for his family, and they bought a zoo.
Oh, I love
And I'm
that
like,
movie.
everything on paper is like, don't do it. Don't do it. He gets there and it's a mess. Don't do it. And I'm like, oh, the adventure in it, because you can see it's going to be beautiful.
yeah.
Figure it out.
You're like, do it.
Do it.
That is
like,
probably one of the most underrated movies.
Oh, I love that
ever.
movie.
I don't think I've seen it.
20 seconds.
We Bought a Zoo is what it's called. Oh, dude, it's so good.
Watch
you
it.
have to watch it with your family.
Yeah.
We Bought a
Yeah.
Zoo.
And
right,
think
boys,
about this,
get
20
ready.
seconds. 20 seconds.
Yeah, we'll skip that. We'll fast forward that 20 seconds. We'll say do it. Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
All right.
So
Well, that's it. Just a little bit of fun. Just like break things
Yeah.
up. It's getting serious. It's getting heavy in the room.
Getting heavy. You need
I need a
little
break.
break.
I'm a lighthearted guy. Okay. All right. Let's talk a little bit about the message. We talked about Eden, but let's a different thread of Eden here. So Freddie said, if we miss Eden, we run the risk of missing the central theme that runs throughout all of Scripture, this is like a running theme throughout the whole, the box top. And like we've talked about this throughout the whole series. And he said, the invitation of Eden is God continuing to build an appetite for our Creator, for our God. He said, we have a longing for the garden life. We think of Eden as utopia, but it's really about God's presence, and that the invitation of Eden is God continuing to, I already said that, build an appetite. Okay, so I think like we've often heard the scriptures described as God's rescue story for humanity. And so how does the Eden story help us understand the larger story of Scripture, not just as like a fall and rescue narrative, but as this long invitation to return to a relationship with God?
Yeah.
What do you got to say, Pastor?
Pastor David. I mean, this is my heartbeat,
Yeah.
you know, and I think one, was it John Mark Comer that wrote Garden City?
Mhm.
Yeah, and I just think that it's no accident that the Bible starts with Eden, this garden. It carries the Eden theme even into the structure of the temple and the tabernacle and that, and then it ends not with a lesser Eden, but a more Eden, you know, this garden city where we actually are able to join God in being creative and making culture and building and creating beautiful things and expanding the boundaries of the garden and allowing more people in and filling, you know, forming and filling alongside God in that whole thing. And so, yeah, man, I think sometimes and we've talked about this a lot, is I think two things. One is I think we have a lot of non-biblical ideas that have invaded our understanding of the Bible and the story that it tells. And so we kind of like have this, what I call religious asceticism, where it's asceticism, if you don't know, is the Greek's version of transcending culture and the material world. And the Bible actually isn't ascetic at all. It's actually the spiritual world invading the material world. And we have a tendency to disconnect like the two. And so what I think is beautiful is, I mean, even the fact that Jesus was born of the flesh should communicate something about the power of Eden. The created space where God is, and we've adopted two things. One, the Bible does talk of a heaven in a spiritual realm, but 9 times out of 10, when the Bible says heaven, it's literally just talking about the sky.
The heavens and the earth declare His glory.
It's the sky and the land. That's literally is the two the two words in Hebrew, you know, for the heavens and the earth. You know, is just sky and land and type of thing. And so we kind of like have this like over spiritualization of the afterlife that robs us of Eden instead of brings Eden into that. And when you allow Eden, when you trace the biblical story, how the authors organized and wrote the biblical story, you'll see them do the opposite. They bring Eden into it, you know, and I think that's just really important. And I don't know if that answers your question fully, but yeah, it's one of the things that why I think it's important is because you know that phrase, it's new, that we need to touch some grass. Right? We're so much on our like technology and in our metaverse.
Go touch some grass.
Touch some grass. It's like, and what we're saying is we need to be grounded in reality. And what I want for Christians is I want Eden to be that version of touching some grass. To be not escapism mentality, but God here and God now. The Eden, the garden, the beauty, you know, all those things. So that's kind of my little shtick.
No, I think that's really good too, because you talk about non-biblical ways that we view Eden, and yes, there's so much like Greek philosophy that is like just burrowed its way into Christian thought, and this like over spiritualization of heaven is like one of the big ones, because it's like the scriptures say a new heaven and a new earth.
Mm-hmm.
And it does give this picture of a joining of the two. And so like where I think we get tripped up, or I get tripped up even, is like that idea of utopia. You're not actually thinking about like what it's like to be in the presence of God.
That's good.
We're actually thinking about like, oh man, like my back won't hurt anymore.
Totally.
Or that jerk
Pain.
probably won't be there, or who knows what,
Yeah.
or
I drive through
or they'll be
McDonald's
nice.
and the ice cream machine's not broken.
Like that's but like we think
That's
about
funny.
this like
That's
perfect,
funny.
great life, and we do key in on these are scriptural things like no sorrow, no
Yeah,
tears,
yeah.
like
Sure.
and beautiful things to look ahead to, but we look at it through the lens of myself and
Yeah.
how my life will be better,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to like the picture that
Yeah.
the scriptures give of like, no, being in the presence
Mm-hmm.
of God
Yeah.
with, yes, all of those things.
Can I add one more like
Yeah.
thing to our imagination? And I even want to like mess with this image even further, where it's not just that we're going to be in the presence of God. We're going to be in the presence of God and others.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a communal,
ruin it for me.
there's this community. See, and this is
I'm gonna
where
have to share God.
again, this is where the ascetic, the hyper individual, my soul,
Mhm.
my thing,
Yes.
and we don't actually understand that not only is God building a place, He's actually forming a people, a community of people, a family of people to learn to live together and
Yeah.
No Greek,
yeah.
no Jew, no male, no
Right.
female. Like,
It's not even
yes.
individualistic. And these are where we get some really jacked up ideas, which is why we can it's why we can sing a worship song with our lips and then curse out our neighbor, a fellow
Same
image
lips.
bearer with those same lips. Because of a misplaced understanding of Eden. Like what it is and what it was meant to be.
I think too, like, man, isn't the world so broken? Like, I can't fathom a world with other people
Yeah.
that looks like Eden.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
just honestly.
Yeah.
Like, the people I love frustrate me,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's these other people, like a whole nother
That I don't
category
even
of
love.
people. Yeah, that I should love, but like, like it is so hard to wrap my head around a place that looks like that, where we're in the presence of God together, and there's unity,
Mm-hmm.
there's beauty, like, it's hard.
It's hard.
I think of just talking about like thinking of, like heaven on earth. Like what does that look like right now in our everyday lives? And I can obviously, to your point, we do live in a very broken world, bringing brokenness into the world and then experience brokenness. Yeah, I think of some things that I'm like, God, I knew you were with me. And I was and when you get to experience that with other people, you're just like, look,
Yeah.
it's so,
totally, yeah.
I remember a friend of mine, her and I went, it was, I think in September, and we hiked Aspen to Crescent Butte. And I mean, it's a beautiful hike. Gold. I mean, all the aspens are gold. And it was just, to me, heaven on
Heavenly.
earth,
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God, every time I'm like, God, I can't imagine, because I was with one of my favorite people experiencing something we both loved and getting to experience the same thing. And that's where I'm like, this is like what heaven will be like. And it's just scratching the surface.
Totally.
But like the
You know?
togetherness,
Yeah,
I
the
think what you're saying
togetherness.
is what made it better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being together.
And
It wasn't just like you were in the beautiful Aspen. It's like you were in relationship with
Yeah.
God and others.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. I
Well, I
love
do
that.
think
Yeah.
that is actually really like a great picture of the church at its
Yeah.
best.
Totally.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like I do think about sometimes in a service we'll have like a Holy Spirit moment. Like that's just really, it's just palpable. It's not me. It's not you. It's not like, it's not manufactured. It's just God's doing something and we're
Yeah.
experiencing it together.
Together.
Like
Yeah.
that's really powerful. So Thank you, because I like it is. It's still hard to wrap my head around.
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah.
But it does give a window into like what it could be.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I do believe, like, I mean, on earth as it is in heaven.
Mhm.
And so thinking of maybe because I am, as Freddie says, like, I'm prone to curiosity.
Yeah.
And so I ask all the questions, like, why did all the other animals talk? What was that really a fruit? What kind of fruit? You know, just because I'm so curious, but that keeps me leaning in. And to me, I'm like, okay, just going back to that example of hiking, I was like, God, like, this is, I mean, I can't imagine anything more beautiful. And
Mm.
it just reminds me of like, oh, it's going to be so much better.
Yeah.
It's going to be so much better.
Yeah.
And having those, like, looking for those experiences and talking about, like,
Yeah.
what Freddie mentioned, like, having eyes to see, ears to hear.
Yeah.
I remember when I started the cracking open process, after I resigned, it was almost I was getting, because I was so desensitized. And so now, like, I remember it was in the summer, which it doesn't rain here often in the summer, but I remember it rained and I was like, smell that, Freddie? He's like, smell what? And I'm like, the rain smells so good. And I, like,
Mhm.
my senses were coming back.
They were heightened.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like,
awesome.
that's like bits of heaven of
Yeah.
God reminding us,
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here. You could have this
Mm.
all the time. I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I think every sense of, like, our ceiling is our imagination.
Mhm.
Our ceiling is our imagination. And so, like, I think the beauty of Eden is it expands our imagination for what's possible. And instead of seeing it as some sort of like fairy tale,
Mhm.
like seeing it as a blueprint for what
That's
we
good.
long for and what we can imagine in our lives, I think is really important. And that's how I would like to see Eden. That's the only way you get from a garden to a garden city.
Mhm.
That's the only way you can get there is if you allow yourself to imagine that. And I do believe with all my heart what you just said is that there are times and moments where a glimpse of that reality comes here and now. And we should work in all of our energy to bring as many of those little heaven meets earth moments as possible, like on this earth and planet. And it does, listen, it does, and it, you have to have an imagination. This is what I love about Bob Goff.
Yeah.
He messes with you.
Yeah. Yes.
He messes with me in multiple ways because he's like over the top. Like I could never like live up to like the way he lives his life. But yeah, like renting an office in Disney and like handing out candy to boat people who pass by on boats. Like that's probably never, but he gives you an imagination for more. And it's like, man, what, like when you're checking out in the grocery line, do we ever say anything like, man, how do I move this moment closer to Eden? How do it like, unless you have an imagination for it and unless you understand that that's actually what the biblical story is doing. That's why it was brought into the temple and the tabernacle. And that's why Jesus spent his last days in a garden at Gethsemane, right? To recapture those images and smells and beauty of what his blood was going to accomplish, you know, and they're like, there's a reason why the authors of the Bible wrote the Bible the way it did to bring that string all the way through. And I just want that. Like, I want that for my own life.
Yeah.
Me too.
That's good.
Me too. And I think too, in this season, I've just read the Bible more than I've ever had. And again, my curiosity and the mystery is what keeps me close to God for me personally. And so I'm just like, okay, reading scripture, I'm like, what does this word mean? Why did the author choose this word? And so it takes me down this thing and I'm like, oh God, thank you for your word because I'd be so lost and thinking I was so alone. But these people are so messed up too. And they find themselves back to Eden in your presence.
Yeah. You're like, what
or they don't. You know?
Well, I even talked about in our volunteer service, and I didn't say it this way because I didn't prepare. I just winged it.
That's not true volunteers.
Not true volunteers. You didn't hear that.
I'm just kidding.
But like the more I'm thinking about it, like how beautiful. I brought that Colossians passage that where Paul is like, I'm gonna like you guys get to bring the mystery that was hidden that was hidden with God throughout the ages. And then he says, okay, what is that mystery? And he says this, Christ in me, the hope of glory. And so there's almost this like, now now what you have Paul proclaiming is not that we've returned to Eden, not that we go back to Eden, but now Eden has come to us through the person and work of Jesus Christ. And we don't find ourselves in Eden, we find Eden in us. And it's like, whoa, like that's just crazy. So we get to bring that reality wherever we go, and not like I told the volunteer, I was like, if that doesn't make you come alive, I'm going to come out there and slap you. Because it's like, and I know we lose sight of the beauty of that like statement of like, oh, and this is my pet peeve. There is, I'm tired of a waiting till we get to heaven mentality. I'm tired of it. Like, you can be free now. You can taste, you can be with Jesus now. You can have a healed heart now. You like perfectly? No, of course not. Right? It's going to be messy and broken. And it's going to be like one step forward, two steps back type of reality. But don't let the enemy rob you of the ways that you can taste the goodness of God and Eden right now. That's my deal.
That's so good.
Yes. And it is such I think it's just permeated like Christian culture so strongly right now. This like someday kind of thing. I don't.
The frozen chosen.
Yeah, frozen chosen or heaven. It goes back to like the picture of heaven and what that picture is for us. And it's just like, man, no, we're not going to experience that fully today. But like you can experience freedom.
Yeah.
It's good. All right, one more that I think, kind of going back to like we're running through this threads throughout the whole series. So we've talked about, forming and filling and just this pattern that God has forming and filling. And I thought Freddie made this like really practical point. He said, God will not form that which is already filled. Or he will not fill that which is already full. That's what I mean. And so there needs to be this emptying for God to fill it. And it's like, it's just this really obvious thing if you think about it in just like logistically, right? Like you can't fill a glass that's already full. You can't fill a container that's already full. If it's filled with something else, the Holy Spirit's not going to fill you. And so it just made me go, okay, I think sometimes we think we're ready for God to move, but we're unknowingly filled with these other things. Distractions, pride, pressure, like good intentions, but we're filled. So how do we become more aware of what we're carrying, what we're filled with that's crowding out the Spirit? Stumped you guys.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just like off the cuff, I would say like, for me, it just literally is just pressing in to the Lord, and where he will be faithful and tender and kind and patient. Just be like, okay, this needs to be out so I can fill you here. This needs to be, you have some deep bruising here. I need you to, whatever you're trying to cover up with, I want to heal that in you. And so I think those for me, it's just like getting close to him, because he's not a God who's just like so over and just whatever, however that perspective is. He's so tender and caring and patient and just, but because he wants us he wants to fill us. He wants to fill us. And so I think it is for me, as I just allow him in to show me, which is humility.
That's good.
Right.
Really.
That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think about it like for me, I think it really is just like asking.
Yeah.
Like it's just the simplest thing. Like, Lord, what are those things? But like, I think there are times in my life where I ask those kinds of questions, but I don't really want the answer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But like asking from a place like, no, I do want to know. I do want to be filled. I want to be filled with you instead of these like false, whatever, Band-Aids or like these other things that I think are going to I'm going to find life and fulfillment in. No, I want to be filled with your spirit. And so what are these things? Like, show me, reveal them to me. And just like being, like allowing God to be really honest.
Yeah.
Like, and he is kind. Like, it's not like this, like, beat down.
Mean dad.
But it's honest. It's still painful.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, that's how I.
Yeah. Charles Spurgeon used to give an image of that God can't put in the hands, our God can't fill clenched hands. Like so what are you holding on to in doing that? And one of the things that comes to mind, and I don't have any like strong theological like foundation for this, but I think one of the fears that we have is that if I let go or if I empty myself, that I'm not going to get. And I think there's a distinction between stuff and spirit. I think we fill our lives with stuff, and we crowd out or we don't leave room for the spirit. And what happens is when we leave room for the spirit, it changes the way we enjoy stuff. Like the role. So it's not like, oh, I'm gonna empty going to a good meal or enjoying a good coffee so I can make room for the spirit.
Right.
It's like I'm going into that coffee bankrupt and looking for that thing to be something it can never be. So I'm feeding my disappointment instead of going into a cup of coffee full of the spirit and enjoying it the way it was intended to be enjoyed. And I think we do that with food, with sex, with friendships, with relationships, with, and we're, it's like, if we can remove the this or that mentality and think about like being full with the like I get the spirit and now I get to enjoy this thing the way it was intended to be enjoyed.
And coffee?
And coffee and work and
hobbies.
all the different things that like come into that. And I think the and or language sounds virtuous, but I don't think it's the heart of God.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I fully agree. Because I think that's one of the things I ask a lot of people, because in our culture, we forget to have fun.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm like,
have
everything's
fun.
utilitarian.
Totally. Yes.
It's like this or that. It's like, no, have fun. What are you doing to have fun? God wants you to have fun.
Yeah.
It's the enjoyment. It's being with him.
Yeah. And it's more of the language of an ordered life. What's first importance so that all else can be enjoyed and put in its right and proper place. And man, I haven't figured that out. You know what I mean? Like and I don't have like a, chapter and verse. I can't just be like, this or that, but there is a sense of a rightly ordered life is a satisfied life.
Yeah.
And
it's kind of like I think you kind of alluded to this. I don't know if you exactly said this, but like what is that thing to you?
Yeah.
Is it just for enjoyment, or are you trying to have it be something it was never meant to be?
Right.
And like I remember when Lauren and I were dating, and I said to her, I cannot be the center of your life. Not that she was doing it. I was just like trying to set like this like that's got to be Jesus. That's got like, you need to have other things. You need to have friends. You need to have other interests. Like I can't have that pressure because I can never meet it.
Yeah.
And so it's like that same concept with a cup of coffee or going to work or your finances or like whatever the thing is.
We do that to our kids.
Yeah.
All the time. We put them in the place of the spirit, and we try to get them to fill something up in us that's lacking. And it's like,
that's about laying down my life right now. About the empty next.
oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We went through it once.
True
Now we
talk.
got to go through it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
All right. I think it's time to move into...
Let him cook. It's time for David's low-key obsession.
I think you wanted to talk culture today.
Man, do we have enough time?
We got, dude.
Are you sure?
All
right.
We won't spend a crazy amount of time on it.
Yeah. So when we talk about this cultural moment, I'm just sad, man, about like, talk about this or that. Like we live in such an us versus them environment right now when it comes to culture that it breaks my heart. And like when we have our identity rooted in what's halftime show we watched or didn't watch,
it's tribalism.
It is tribalism at the weirdest level.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not even like good tribalism.
Right.
Like, it's not like all these like cultural things that we're preserving. It's legitimately just who's right, who's wrong, who's in power, who's not in power, whose agenda, and so I don't want to say a ton because it's not about which side of the conversation you're on.
No.
It's the fact that we are even having the conversation that breaks my heart. And I just think we need to, I just think we need to look to Jesus to define the way we treat one another and what we root our identity in. And if those two things, like if we were really obedient to Jesus in those two things, like these dumb conversations and wars that we're having would just go away. It literally just go away. Where's your identity rooted in? And how does Jesus define the way we treat each other and others, humans?
Yeah. And I think you said it, I don't know where we were, but you said root to fruit.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
It really is finding, I think, like asking the why. Like, why do I feel like I need to engage in this conversation that's divisive? Or why do I feel like about this or that?
This or that.
you know? Just like the why. And I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a really good question.
I'm not known as an emotional guy. I've been known to say you hurt my feeling. But I actually went to bed sad last night.
Yeah.
Like legitimately. And it wasn't about this show or that show or which one was better or like I don't care. But
Kid Rock or Bad Bunny.
Right.
Like, come on.
Like,
are we seriously like having this conversation?
Sadly, and that's what it was. It was like it was the rhetoric behind all of it.
Yeah.
It was the villainizing and the just
it's crazy. It's crazy, dude.
Dividing lines that were like arbitrarily choosing, and I guess they're not arbitrary. They're political, but I literally did. I went to bed like kind of sad, and that's weird for me.
That's weird for you.
It's very weird for me.
You came in this morning kind of sad.
I did. I legitimately did.
Do you feel like Jesus would like? I feel like he'd be like, "You guys are idiots."
Totally.
He's flipping tables.
All y'all are idiots. That's Bible language right there.
Like,
all y'all.
Jesus is like, "Where's my whip?"
I'm like, it's just like nobody got time for that.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing?
There's this ridiculous
over
scene
that.
in The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, which is my favorite movie.
Really, never heard that.
Yeah.
Watch it. I was like,
It's amazing.
I know you have.
But he has a childhood toy, and he's with the boss that's coming over to take over Life magazine that he's in, and it's Stretch Armstrong.
Oh, yeah.
And they get into this little like war where they're pulling like the Stretch Armstrong in, and it just gets ridiculous, over the top. It keeps getting more and more, and the next thing you know, they're like out in traffic, riding on top of cars, and Stretch Armstrong stretching. And that's what I feel like this is. It's like I sometimes wake up and I'm like, am I being punked?
Yeah.
Like, am I in some sort of weird Truman show where like everybody is having the most ridiculous conversation and nobody's aware of how stupid it is. Like, sorry.
Yeah.
No,
No.
That's my heart.
That can go, that's a bigger conversation, I think.
Yeah, we
I'm
could
we'll
just
leave it
kinda
off
just
here.
stop there.
we can do just enough to pick the scab, but not.
Yeah.
We're not gonna solve
No.
anything.
Yes.
But listeners, have the conversation.
Have the conversation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
have
and
the
have it
conversation.
respectfully
Yes.
and have your opinion. I actually don't care what your opinion is on either side of the conversation. And I actually understand why people lined up on each side of that combo.
Sure.
Like for
Yeah.
different good reasons. And but don't use stupid reasons. Like one was more like pure or Christian than the other,
Right.
because neither of them were Christian. All of them were worldly. You know what I mean? We're talking about
Just look
freaking
different.
superstars singing a song for money. You know what I mean? Like, you're not talking about, like, it's not like one guy went and like fed,
Met his-
starving children in
Right.
Darfur,
He's doing,
and
like,
the other one
real
was
ministry.
like, selling crack on the street. That's not
Yeah.
what
That's
we're
not what
talking
happened.
about. Like,
No.
we're talking about entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I just think, like, man, like, have your opinions, but I would encourage everyone to be willing to be introspective about why you have the opinions you have,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
examine them against the lens of the gospel.
Yep.
And like, that's the harder part. It's really easy to just go, well, my tribe said this, so I say this. I'm with them,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to like being thoughtful.
Yeah. Amen.
Seek to understand.
Yes.
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 Very good. Okay, let's land the plane. How do we do this in real life?
Hashtag IRL. And if you don't know what that means, you must be old.
We've talked a lot about our journeys.
A lot about it, yeah.
Any parting wisdom for this series in the beginning?
I mean, my big thing is, as a like Bible teacher and pastor, I want people to locate themselves in the real story, not the cultural Christian story, not the Bible stories they grew up hearing and the way they grew up hearing them. But I really believe that there is, and I know this is going to sound awful, and I don't even want to say it. Now I feel like I have to. But there is I'll say it this way. I think there's a healthy way to interpret Scripture and an unhealthy way to interpret Scripture. And I think most people have interpreted Scripture through a very Western cultural, ascetic, Greek systematized lens. And if we don't, if what we do is we actually render the Scripture useless in our lives, and change happens best through storytelling.
Yes.
And if we could learn how to find ourselves in the story, not just plucking information and pulling little categories and trying to memorize certain things, but if we can actually find ourselves in the story that the Bible tells, we'll heal faster. We'll be formed more fully. We'll be able to see more clearly. We'll have freedom in areas more quickly, as we get bound up. And so that was my hope, is that we could give people a perspective of what good Bible interpretation looks like. How do you let the story shape us, as opposed to bits and pieces and facts and things. And John Mark Comer says this thing that is crazy. He says, man, and he pulled it from someone else. I think it was Mike Goheen, but he says, if you don't let, he says, if you keep the Bible in bits and pieces and like all these little moral fables, what you'll end up doing is creating a God in your own image. And if you don't allow the story to be the story that it tells, and this is what Freddie said, and which is beautiful, is theology is knowing God on his terms.
Right.
His terms
Not
are story
ours.
formation.
Yeah.
Our creation is systematics and doctrines. And theological things, control, of things. And not that those things are bad. When they're put in the rightful place, they can be helpful to help the church be who we're called to be. But first and foremost, we got to let the Bible be what it was designed to be in our lives.
That's good.
So good.
I don't know if there's any more to say than that. That feels like
I don't got anything.
Great place to wrap up the series. What is next?
Freely given.
Freely.
Yeah, we're going to do a little 3-part series called Freely Given. It's based off a passage in Matthew that says that I have given to you freely, now freely give. And so we're going to talk about what does it look like to embody the Eden story in our everyday life. And so we're going to talk about some hopeful pictures of the church. We're going to talk about how the early church was viewed by the ancient world and how that shapes the way that we live and embody the gospel in our day and age. So,
love it.
That's so good.
Freely given.
Yeah.
Well, you are now free to stop listening to this podcast.
Freely given.
You made it all the way to the end.
And this podcast has been freely given to you.
Yes.
Why don't you freely give to others? Like, share, comment.
Do it.
You like that?
I like that a lot. Hey, thanks for hanging with us, and we will. Oh, and thank you to Michele.
Thanks,
for
Michele.
joining
Thank you,
us.
guys.
We
Thank you.
are very
Love being here.
appreciative every time you're on. It's awesome.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening to Centered. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with a friend. You can listen to Centered on your favorite podcast platform or watch on YouTube. To learn more about Mosaic or connect further, visit us online at welcometomosaic.com. See you next week.